way you see that. You know what I mean? I've been through it, so you know, it ain't no sugarcoating it. That's why I kept it so raw. So
it's raw, it's real. It's a book that many, especially young brothers, can relate to. It could be anywhere on the planet that they can relate to. If you're talking about a rite of passage of street life, because you capture that. And the beauty of the book is, I mean, you start out capturing, you lay it out well in terms of capturing that first foundation of family, right? And you speak to the relational aspects of yourself, mother, father, other family members. Add to that a little, because you set the tune very well in terms of how much that set the foundation for you.
Yes, because in our journeys now, you know what I mean, the way it's laid out pretty much comes from our mothers and our fathers. You feel me? A lot of our children today, we carry, let's say, call it the sins of the mothers and fathers. So as mothers and fathers, we need to point out, review and wrong to our children, so they have an idea to say, now, you know, my daddy or my mother's been through it, so maybe I could take another route, not thinking that I got to go on the end journey and figure it out yourself.
Right.
That's why I think a lot happening.
And you capture that. I mean, you make it very clear. Your mother was a nun.
Yeah.
And I found that interesting in terms of how you depict that. How much of, for anyone listening to it, I mean, I read, but anyone listening to it, oh man, almost a nun, and you meant that path, you know, that's your first assumption that people make. So, in conveying that, like you said, the sins of the mothers and the fathers have to shape the children, and with it also comes correction. And so, how much of your mother as a nun helped to, I wouldn't say first bring stability, but had you keeping an awareness of what was going on in your life at the time, in the early days?
So as far as my mama being actually a real life nun, you know what I mean, I think that points on the story, like, even look how I even got her, you know what I mean, because now from a nun having a child, now that's a 360, you know what I'm saying? So now in a sense that should be a reason that I must be for her for a reason, in a sense.
Yeah.
So now with that, now I came later after that fact, you know what I'm saying? So I guess her transition was already into Bermuda.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I had, like, you know, a lot of aunts that were in the churches and stuff that kept us grounded, like my Aunt Hilda Restner. So she kept us grounded and made sure we was always getting that foundation, getting that knowledge we needed. I think that too keeps you grounded, even though you are in the hood and you're getting through all of it. It keeps like a basis in your mind.
The extended family was very much a part of your growing up and development. And you just drew upon it in terms of the role aunts played. And I think, you know, even in the book, I think you also reference uncles, and even some of the older men in the community. And you speak about the influence of the hood, right? And for you, the reference of hood is the Middletown area and Middletown detail area, right? How much did that community play and shape your first stages of development?
Okay. Well, you know, in the end, I'm thankful because it made me strong coming from being married. You know what I mean? But I think if I feel like the community has to raise the child, you know what I mean? Like before, it used to be like that. Now it's not like that. Parents want to be like, let's say, I'm the only one that could discipline my child. You know? Now before was more of a family thing. So the child knew he had to stay in order, because his mom ain't gonna, you know, defend him against his auntie or something. So I think it's like they will bring them up, you know.
Go ahead.
Yeah. But as far as the hood, now, I guess being in that area, it you know, it opens you up to a lot more things. than other kids wouldn't have seen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So being in the predicaments, you know, I guess it would give me that feeling like I'm untouchable. Because I'm seeing it all getting wrong, and I'm seeing, you know, that life where, you know, the people in the street, you know what I mean, where the life looks fun. So I'm trying to get to that. I mean, I'm trying to live that life. So, you know, it looks me out there.
And you do capture in terms of, you know, how much, you know, I mean, the village raises the child, and like you said, you don't pull any punches in terms of speaking to the good, the bad, the ugly, and its role in developing, you know, aspects of your life, right? And in this journey of, and that's why I say also, when we talk about the first stage of this rite of passage that the first book, Redemption, speaks to, there's a separation stage, and you can see it beginning early, because you took some things on yourself that helped to shape your mantra that you put out there so well. No, I'm doing it my way. There were things that you saw that shaped your thinking to say, I'm going to do it my way. And to do it your way means a separation from how others were doing it, and you make it very clear. I have to go back. I have to go to because you vividly, man, capture some of the things in your schooling life. Yeah. How much in terms of that separation? You speak about the aspects of separation of schooling life in your early days, and those things that influenced you in schooling life. Give us a vivid memory of the things of your schooling life that set the platform for some of that separation.
Okay, now school. Let me see how to put it. Well, I think for time, you know, secondary school.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like I was pretty much a rebel by that time. You know what I mean? So I was already stuck in my way. So it would probably have to go back to my primary school days. Now, when I was younger, now that's why I feel teachers play a big role. And if I don't want to give too much of the book away, but if I went back to my younger days, something came to mind when I had learned to spell a big word, and I go to my teacher, and I'm looking for this acceptance to say, look, I'm bright, look what I could do. And she shut me down. I was like, well, you know, if you don't really get no praise for doing good, then do whatever I want. And find my impact.
Right. And I am going to give away some of the book because I want people to get the book and see themselves in it. I saw myself in it. I saw myself in your book. I mean, you went towards that, right? And you vividly captured some of your, and paint a picture of some of your schooling experiences at Warwick Sec that many of us can relate to. The girls, the sports, the football. You just communicated thoughts of teacher, perception. All of us went through it, and I said, man, I can relate to this. I can relate to this. I can relate to it in many ways, and say, man, who were my tops in my schooling area? You know, I went saying from 70 to 75, and I said, man, I counted about half a dozen guys in my year who were the tops, and all of them did time. All of them have done time. All of them have done time for some gun crime, rape, manslaughter, murder, right? I said, wow. And reflectively, you helped me to capture a picture of them in their early phases when you talk about your schooling experiences. And look, man, you an ace boy with, you'll skip classes. Yeah, you wouldn't even go to class and so forth. So when you look at and think of that journey, and then simultaneously the hood life, the street life was very much a part of your school life, and you share how much you know some of that you brought into school, right? let me just ask you, reflectively, were there any teachers, and especially male teachers, who you saw at that time that had an impact or could have had an impact? Or that you wanted? No,
I'm actually just scratching my brain trying to think of like any that really stood out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see it.
And that's important. And that's important. And again, as I was reading it, as I was reading the book, and you capture your schooling experiences connected to your neighborhood experiences, you know, and what you brought and took to school. I said, oh, who were the influences? And you talked about I could have played ball, and football was always something that many of the guys gravitated toward with the football head coaches, you know. So I said, and then who were the coaches in his school during this time that you know, that had a measure of influence? But again, it speaks to so that for you it appeared that again your mantra in this first, what I call your first separation phase of your rite of passage was, look, man, ain't nobody can tell me, man. Ain't nobody telling you to do anything, so right?
But see, that's why we need to grab the youth before they get to that thought process. We don't want to see how the youth know, because if you look at the age bracket of the youth that's been in trouble, it's pretty much from 18 to 25. That's being all the crazy stuff. You know, the other ones are getting caught in it too. But you need to grab these youth before they get to their ages, before they start thinking like me that they could do whatever they want, because this is where you see where it took me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I don't want everybody to have to take that route to just to see a fact that.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I would have just thought a little more, then I wouldn't have threw my life away in a sense.
Right.
Luckily, I got another chance. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna do the most with it. But some people ain't gonna get that chance, so we gotta try to intercept them. No.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So, and I appreciate you sharing it, because your life experience is such an experience. I mean, you went through some things very young, and like you said, there's a lot. You put yourself in that predicament. You own it because you said, "No, I did things my way," and in doing things my way, it brought with it consequences, and some of it you beat at the time.
Yeah.
But as you speak to it, it went through a transition. The more and more you did it, and you talk about, you know, putting in place for young people right now those support networks early to prevent much of what you went through. How do you, like even now, when you look at what's going on, what is some of your conversation with the youth using your story?
Well, with the youth right now, what I'm seeing is that, like, see, I'm got parental advisory in my book. I'm realizing that we're probably gonna have to try to get to the youth at a young age. You know what I mean? Because by the time they get about 18, it's a little too late. It's like they're already stuck in the let's say gangsters and you feel me?
Right.
What's the question is?
You know, when you reflect upon your own youth passage, and you are engaging young people today, how do you communicate this story to them?
Yeah, I try to show them. You know what I mean? I try to show them that life could change so easily for you. You know what I mean? It then takes one slip up, and then your whole life will be going away from you. A lot of things that we are pushing towards really don't make no sense. You know what I mean? So I just try to tell them, look, check on my book. They'll make the same stupid mistakes I made, and you know, life could be lived.
Yeah. And you're right in terms of how, you know, in a moment's notice it can change for you. And it takes us to that transition period of the rite of passage. I mean, here it is, and you vividly share You know, hey man, I'm enjoying life. I'm out here free.